All right, so today we're going to be looking at something pretty interesting.
Yeah, you sent this over. It's this website for a creative agency called MUY.
Hmm.
And I got to say, my first impression,
It was kind of like, are they brilliant or are they just kind of bonkers?
yeah,
So let's dive in and find out.
yeah, it's definitely not your average agency website.
No,
That's for sure. It's like they're speaking a different language.
literally and figuratively.
Right.
Yeah, the first thing I noticed was the Spanish.
Like even on the English version of the website,
Right.
they're not shying away from it.
And those giant phrases they keep repeating, like elasticos.
Digitals por defecto.
Uh,
It's a lot to process.
yeah, it's definitely attention grabbing. It's not just about the aesthetics. It's like they're making a statement.
It's as if they're saying, we're not afraid to be different,
We know who we are, and we're not trying to be everything to everyone.
which kind of ties into something else they keep emphasizing.
That whole elasticity thing.
What do you make of that?
Right. Well, it's not just a buzzword for them. It's like a core principle.
You know, it seems to be woven into everything they do.
They're not just an agency.
They're an elastic company.
Okay, I like that.
So on a practical level, like, what does that even mean?
How does that translate to their actual work?
Well, I think it speaks to their adaptability.
You know, their willingness to kind of stretch beyond those predefined boxes
Okay.
and really tailor their approach to each client's needs.
It's the opposite of a one-size-fits-all agency.
Yeah, no cookie cutter.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
And it's not just their work,
Yeah.
right? They talk about being elastic in their thinking.
Their culture, their whole approach to business.
Absolutely.
It reminds me a little bit of agile methodologies.
You know, being able to pivot, adapt, respond to change quickly.
It's becoming essential in this day and age.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And what I find really interesting is how they connect.
that elasticity to this whole people over data philosophy.
It's an interesting juxtaposition.
Yeah, because we're practically drowning in data these days.
Like, is it even possible to just ignore all of that?
Right.
Isn't that kind of risky? Especially for a creative agency.
It's definitely a bold move.
And like any bold move, it comes with its own risks and rewards.
And they do kind of address that directly.
You know, they say they're a company for 2020 in 2024.
It's like they're stuck in a time warp.
Right.
But maybe it's more than that.
Maybe they're making a conscious choice.
To say, look, these are our founding principles.
We're sticking to them even if the world is changing around us.
Perhaps.
Or think about it this way. What if, by framing themselves as a company for 2020 in 2024,
They're actually making a statement about timelessness.
as if to say our values are enduring, they transcend trends.
That's an interesting tip.
So it's like they're saying we were ahead of the curve then.
And guess what? We're still relevant now.
But it's a gamble, right?
Because some clients might see that and think,
Well, they're outdated. They don't get it.
exactly.
They're not aware of what's happening in the market
And that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating.
because they are challenging conventional wisdom here.
Yeah.
They're making us question our own assumptions.
About what it takes to be successful in today's business world.
Right. It's that constant tension.
Do you stick to your guns even when the landscape shifts?
Or do you adapt to survive?
Exactly.
It's a question a lot of companies grapple with.
Especially in the creative field where things change so rapidly.
And MUI's answer seems to be a resounding stick to your guns.
But what are the implications of that choice?
Not just for them, but for the clients they're trying to attract.
Let's explore that a little further.
Yeah, and that's where I think their approach to showcasing their work gets really interesting.
Because you'd expect a creative agency to, like, plaster their website,
With all their best projects.
like show off their greatest hits.
Right, exactly.
Mhm.
But MUI takes a very different approach.
They're very sparse with the details.
Yeah, it's almost like they're saying, our work speaks for itself,
Right?
but we're not going to like spell it out
Like,
for
right.
It's like they're a secret society or something.
And you gotta, like, earn your way in to see the good stuff.
Right, right.
So do you think it's more about,
like client confidentiality?
or are they just trying to be all mysterious?
It could be a bit of both.
I mean, you have to imagine some of their clients.
Are probably in industries that are very discreet.
Okay.
High-profile startups,
Sure.
exclusive brands, maybe even government agencies
You don't necessarily want their projects.
out there for everyone to see.
That makes sense.
So that adds to the air of exclusivity.
Yeah, it's like we've worked with big names,
Right.
but we can't tell you who they are.
Exactly.
Which, I mean, for certain clients,
That could be a major selling point
absolutely.
Like
It
I-
suggests this level of trust and discretion.
that a lot of agencies just can't offer.
Right. But then on the other hand,
It could just be a really clever marketing ploy
yay.
to, like, pique your interest.
Exactly.
Right.
It's like they're leaving you wanting more,
Yeah.
making you reach out to them.
If you really want to see what they can do,
Feel like they're whispering.
if you're the right fit, you'll find us.
Right.
Okay, and speaking of finding them.
Their email sign-up is just as quirky as the rest of their website.
Yeah.
They say we discover cool things and sometimes share them in a brief email.
It's so understated.
It's very subtle.
Yeah, it's like anti-marketing almost.
It's brilliant, though.
Right, because we're so inundated with...
clickbait headlines and these aggressive email blasts.
But yeah.
And here comes MUI.
Just offering a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
They're not bombarding you with all this noise.
Okay. They're saying we curate valuable information and we share it thoughtfully.
It all comes back to that people over data thing.
Exactly.
Right.
It's not an algorithm spamming your inbox.
Right.
These are actual humans.
Deciding what's worth sharing.
Yeah, it's a small distinction.
But it's an important one.
Absolutely.
It shows that they value your time.
They value your attention.
Which is rare these days.
Which is increasingly rare.
Yes, very much so.
And again, it goes back to their target audience.
This approach probably resonates with people.
Who are just turned off by all the noise.
Yeah, the ones who are bombarded with...
the same old marketing tactics.
Exactly.
They're over it.
They're looking for something different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this deep dive so interesting.
Because MUI isn't just challenging.
The conventions of web design.
They're challenging this whole idea.
Of how a creative agency should even operate.
Right.
In the 21st century.
They're rebels with a cause.
And that cause seems to be authenticity. They'd rather be true to themselves.
Even if it means alienating a big chunk of the market.
Then conform to all the norms and lose their identity in the process.
Yeah, and in a way, that's a really powerful message.
Not just for potential clients.
But for anyone trying to build a brand in today's world.
Right.
So it begs the question, is it about being everything to everyone?
Or is it about being something truly unique?
To just a select few.
Right. It's a question of focus, isn't it?
Yeah.
MUI seems to have made a very deliberate choice.
To prioritize depth over breadth. Like, they're okay with not being the right fit.
For every single client.
Right.
And you see that in everything they do.
From their website design
Right.
to their whole marketing approach.
It's risky.
But it could also be their biggest strength.
Oh, absolutely.
Because in a world
that's just saturated with generic agency.
and all vying for the same clients,
Right.
MUI stands out.
They're like a breath of fresh air.
Exactly.
And that can be really appealing.
Especially to clients who are just tired of the status quo.
Absolutely, because it goes back to that idea.
Yeah, this being like a secret society.
Yeah.
If you're in MUI's inner circle,
You're not just hiring an agency.
you're buying into their philosophy. You're aligning yourself with a company.
That really values authenticity and transparency.
Yeah.
And this really human-centered approach.
It's like they're saying,
if you get us, you get us. And if you don't, that's okay.
exactly.
We're not for everyone.
It takes confidence to do that.
To put that out there in the world.
It does.
And it might just be their recipe for success.
Yeah, confidence.
And a deep understanding of your niche.
Right.
Because let's be real.
MUI's approach isn't for everyone.
Yeah. It's not for everyone.
But for the right client.
The one who values their unique philosophy.
Right.
Their way of working.
Exactly.
It could be a match made in heaven.
Absolutely.
It's like finding that hidden gem of a restaurant.
That only locals know about.
Right.
It's not about flashy advertising.
We're trying to please everyone. It's about staying true to your vision.
And attracting those discerning customers.
The ones who appreciate it.
Exactly.
Exactly. And at the end of the day...
Isn't that what we're all searching for? Yeah. Not just in the businesses we work with.
but in all aspects of our lives. Authenticity, connection, a sense of belonging.
Yeah. MUI might be unconventional.
But they're tapping into something.
That's very human.
Absolutely.
So imagine for a moment.
You're at that networking event.
And MUI is that intriguing person in the corner.
Okay.
A little quirky, maybe even a little intimidating.
But with that spark in their eye.
That suggests they have something special to offer. Would you approach them?
It's a gamble.
But sometimes the most rewarding experiences?
Come from taking a chance on something different.
Yeah.
MUI reminds us that success doesn't always...
come in a predictable package.
No, it doesn't.
Sometimes it's about embracing.
Your own brand of brilliance.
Even if it means being a little bit bonkers.
Well said. And on that note...
we'll leave you to ponder the enigma that is MUI.
Are they pioneers or are they just playing a different game?
The answer might just lie in your own perception.